Hey, good morning, folks. We're going to continue work on our artwork for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, the role-playing game supplement we're creating for Spelljammer campaign setting based on the Wizards of the Coast 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Checking my signal here. I'm going to take a moment here, to check my signal, walk through my intro spiel, and then we'll get to work through my intro spiel. Holy Hannah, when did that get so loud? Anyway, all right, so let's see here. I'm having a morning. Can you tell already? I'm pretty tired. Let's see. Let's go through my intro spiel, and then let's make this happen. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them online as PDFs for folks to download and enjoy. I create content for role-playing for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. There is a slew of links in the description down below to other books that I've already created for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. They're published on DMsGuild.com. If you click on any of those book links, you can read the entire document cover to cover. Most of them have like tokens and play mats and other bits that are useful for game to purchase along with the content itself. But if you're just an art enthusiast, there's probably about 150 different illustrations on the cover as well as throughout the pages there. And if you're a D&D enthusiast, certainly check out the mechanics, see if it's stuff that you would want to add to your character or your campaign as a DM. I playtest. As a DM, I run level 1 to 20 campaigns, about 250 hours. So content that I produce, I test at various levels, and if you find it cool, useful, meaningful to your campaign, then consider making a purchase to encourage more behavior. So other than that, I also have a Patreon where I post new mechanics, and you can support me directly, as well as on Twitter. I always post when I go live, so if you want to find out when I'm live in the future as well, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney, which is linked down below as well. And final spiel, right? And other way to support the channel is to help me by liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon to help me continue to grow the channel. We're on our quest to getting 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscriptions, and right now we are at 166. So we're far more ahead than we were last year, and hopefully with your help we'll be able to get even further ahead. So without further ado, this book cover we created probably back around episode 15 of this playlist. We are now currently at episode 146. We started on August 18th last year, and I'm hoping to get this published before we hit our anniversary for Spelljammer. So right now we're working on creature tokens for all the different creatures and NPCs that appear in the Light of Xaryxis adventure, which is part of the box set that comes with the Spelljammer Combat and which part of the Wizards of the Coast release, Spelljammer's Adventures in Space. This document, we've taken the mechanics that we have in the event. I'm currently in the process of building out word boxes for different stuff to fit in, like the Siege Commander, Captain Sartell aboard, the Moon Dancer, which is the ship that you initially start out on. And then the first encounter that you have is with Space Elves aboard a ship called the Dark Star. So I'm currently in the process of breaking up the text on this so I can figure out how it's going to best fit on the page. That's layout work. I don't really burden you guys with watching me punch walls and stuff as I try to create as I try to put everything into place. But there is a loadout here of all of the ship itself, and the different NPCs that are already listed as aboard the ship, and the roles that they play and the actions that they take in each of those roles. So I'm trying to figure out how to organize this better so it's more digestible. It's a little broken up right now across multiple pages. And I'm trying to group these things so that it's a little bit more bite-sized and more easily digested because there's a lot of content. There's the ship itself, there's the creatures that are aboard the ship, and there's all the roles that each of these creatures could be taking each turn. And then there's the actual encounter itself, like all the events of the encounter. So once I figure out how to break this stuff up and make it sit smart, then we'll have a format we can follow for the other encounters that are in the adventure. But right now it's a little bit of a hot mess, which ain't gonna lie, it's pretty fucking intimidating. But I've never built an adventure for publication before, and the content that we're using doesn't really exist anywhere. So we're kind of peeling things. We're kind of yet again exploring a new space. So, but we're gonna figure it out. I'm just giving you guys an update of where we're at. That we're peeling this thing apart and trying to figure out a smart way to put everything together. But I see it. I see it. It's just not efficient yet. It's still in the process. But once we get this thing finished, like Flapjack is the pilot who we built already, and then there's Captain Sartell, who is the captain of the ship, who we also did an illustration for, so you can see that we're trying to create spaces inside of these document boxes to be able to put our tokens next to the statistics of the creatures or the characters that we have, so that this stuff becomes relevant. Like, hey Hornetico, it's good to see you, my guy. Like, we have Pancake here. Here's the token that we created for Pancake, the pilot, right? So here we have the pilot, Flapjack, the pilot. So here he sits, and we are going. It's not that much information after all, so I think I can parse it together. It's probably just going to take like a page for the good guys, and then, like, as you can see here, this is pretty docked up. Probably a page for the bad guys, and then like a scenario or like encounter page. I think I can get away with that for what this is currently at. So that makes this encounter itself 3 pages. And then you can see down here on the next block, where's my bits? Hey guys. And then we got converting Light of Xaryxis. So here's the original format that we have, but as you can see, it's stretching across multiple pages here. So I need to break that down more sensibly. But then and then the next one is sets like against Dark Elves, and then there's the Neogi. So we have the Night Spider ship along with a squadron of spiderlings that the team has to fight, and then there's the actual asteroid dungeon map. So this will probably be 3 pages as well. And then there's the squadron of space galleons that the team can take command of after they escape the Neogi and the cops show up. You can take command of the 2 squad galleons to work with your galleon, so that you have a squadron of 3 galleons to go back and chase after both the Night Spider and the 3 spiderling fighter craft that it has. So it's a 3-on-4, but it's actually a 9 versus 7, because each of the spiderlings take up a 1-by-1 space at the 50-foot scale, and then you have the actual Ebon snare. The word I'm looking for is the Night Spider ship itself is a 4-by-4 space, and so the 3 plus 4 is a 7-by-7 space. So it's like at 70% of its squadron capacity versus your 3 galleons, which are each 3-by-3. So that's 9-by-9. So you're at about 90% capacity and the same rank. Technically, if your characters can get away from the Night Spider, you can turn around and you should be able to take them out. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you got to give it up, because they know the area better than you do, so they can escape. And most likely, they'll just attempt to escape unless they really get some good hits on you and attempt to bring you down. But for the most part, no, they're going to just attempt to escape. Anyway, having said all that, that's where we're at. That's our work in progress. We're just going to continue working on tokens here Monday through Friday until they're done, and we still have a stack of them to do, like a lot of them to do. Here's all the ones that we haven't finished yet versus the ones that we have, which are locked. So all the ones that we've finished are locked. And we're currently working on the Saurons. So I'm going to drop these things down. I'm going to drop these things down. Drop these things down in the trash. We're going to duplicate this layer here. We're going to black, white this one. Color. And then reference. Bop, 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 bop. Come on, Bubby. There. Black, white, color. Got inspired by yesterday to make a large environment. Excellent! Which I've never really done well before, so this will be an interesting experiment. Good luck, man. Two out of the 4 are going through final revisions for the clients, which of course is Ukulele Bard. But he should have an answer for me probably by tomorrow as to which of the set he wants me to proceed with. And once we have that confirmation, we too shall begin our coloring process. We'll begin the detail and coloration of the cover. And it honestly, environment art doesn't, well, for me, it doesn't take long at all because I've spent a long time developing the tools and the skill set to be able to hammer those things out. But they certainly are a privilege and a joy to be able to produce. I absolutely love creating environment paintings. It's only a small portion of the work that I do. I don't know how I'd ever convert that into something full-time, and if I did, I don't know if I'd still love doing landscapes like I do currently. So, creators are in a constant. I don't remember who was talking about it yesterday, but it was Fred Willard over on How to RPG. There is a constant struggle, creators trying to make a living off of creating, of not killing their muse. Which I'm being very, very cautious about. I don't want to hurt her. And I think the only real way for me to do that is to really, really slow cook the professional aspect of this endeavor. So that I don't get greedy or feel undue pressure. Or force myself to produce when I don't want to. Like, it's a pain in the ass to wake myself up every morning, drag myself out, get on stream, and push pixels around. But that's the job, and that's something I have to do anyway. That's just discipline. That's different. There's discipline and there's business. Discipline is what allows an artist to become good in the first place. And if you don't have discipline, you're really going to cap your ability to progress. Because you won't have the raw discipline needed to push you through your breaking points. You'll end up having to feel content with where you're at because you don't have enough, or I don't have enough strive to push myself or yourself up to the next tier. And so you stagnate there for a while, and either something spurs you to move you forward further, or you stay content with where you're at. But business pushes beyond that. It requires the same amount of discipline, but be able to perform that discipline on tasks that you truly don't enjoy doing. That is why it becomes work in a business, because you have so many tasks that you must perform that have absolutely nothing to do with the creativity that you love. So, best to just let the business grow to the point that I'm capable of sharing it with enough people to motivate me. Like, once you have a large enough, I think how it works is once you have a large enough audience, that just being able to perform and produce for the audience itself makes the endeavor of the business worth it. I'm not there yet, but that's why I suspect it's true. I'll be able to build up plenty of momentum as it is like this, as a slow, with slow inertia, if if you would. I am really rambling because I'm talking about business, so I'm going to stop doing that and just keep filling in color. I am so tired. I am so tired. I must get sleep tonight. Simply must get sleep tonight to survive. So far, so good. So what? Let's go back to our reference. Smooth jazz. K-Y-O-T, the coyote. I'm seeing smudgery over here. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 bow, bow. Ba, ba, da, ba, da. Do, 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 do. No. Let's fix that. This is a really dark base color. So we're going to overlay it with dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Pushing pixels, yo. That's what we do. And once we're happy with where the pixels sit, this one we're going to merge the line art down into the color and fix the framing overall. I think this is going to benefit from that. Nice. I feel like everything got really easy all of a sudden, and it's making me a little nervous. I don't know if I've just been infused with ignorant inspiration through the process of exhaustion, or if I somehow leveled up, but I am suddenly feeling the confidence of somebody who doesn't realize the scale of task that they've taken on. Which is great news. It means I'll be able to continue sallying forth unrestricted. But I'm sure I'll drown in doubt again sometime soon. But I'm really going to cash in on this newfound confidence while I am capable. That just literally dropped in. Emotions from heaven, feeding my muse. She is buff. There. Jasmine Crew, yeah, there really isn't just really isn't that much to this. Bo. Boom. Boo. Boo. Bop. Bop. I am sorely tempted to see what happens if I lighten this up a touch. You know what? Nah, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. Let's go with Fusion Hope. We're going to drop these into a group. We're going to duplicate that group, conceal the original group, merge the current group. There we go. Now we're going to do some cleanup on aisle 3. Yeah. Thin that down a touch. Thin that down a touch. So we've just merged the line art with the color. And now I'm going through a process. I want to put this like around like 60%, I think. I'm going to do some line cleanup here. Oh, I need to set a timer. You're right. It is 6:40. I've got another hour and 20 minutes. Sunday fun day. Hornetica, what's going on? Distracted for a second and suddenly heard Phil's music is buff. I can't help but imagine they use this from Disney's Hercules movie, but they're all weightlifters. Hell yeah. Exactly. She gains power through emotional energy, and there's been an infusion of it suddenly. Well, let's just be honest. Muses really are just a spiritual, emotional manifestation of our relationship with our higher selves. They're a gift we send to ourselves from our future to help us become who we know we will become. And I'm pretty sure that a muse is the opposite. How to say? If you've got I think it's a balancing force in like the yin yang, like if you have a lot of masculine energy, I am convinced that your muse is going to have more of a feminine flair to help build out a more balanced emotional body for you. Or if you have more feminine energy, it doesn't matter what you identify as. It's just there's no perfect balance. Well, I'm sure somebody someplace has a perfect balance of feminine versus masculine energy inside of themselves, but that's not a constant. It's constantly changing. So I think that there's a tendency of one direction over another, just ratio wise. And I'm pretty sure that the muse helps balance that. So I mean, even if you did have like a 50-50 and you oscillated 49-51, I think that unique individual, I think that their muse energy would oscillate, would waggle back and forth along that 50% mark to help you be able to bob back and forth, as it were. But I'm no metaphysicist. I'm just going on hunches. So if you know better than I do, give me a shout out and let me know. Well, I know it's difficult to make progress in anything if you aren't properly balanced. If you move too far, like for example, in my own art, I got so advanced in my layout work that I actually had to stop developing my landscapes. My landscape art developed to a point where it was grossly outperforming my figure and object illustrations. So I actually had to actively stop developing landscapes because I initially started doing landscapes so I can get them up to snuff with where my character art was, and once that exploded, I'm like, well, I need to stop. so the rest of my skill set can catch up, so it doesn't look like computer animation in the background with hand-drawn animation up front. You know, I hate that, by the way. I hate that blend. I think it's jarring and disruptive. What I appreciate is an artistic form that can properly blend medium without looking like you're absolutely that you're not, you know, blending disciplines. You know, if that makes sense. Like if you're gonna blend disciplines, I want it to be invisible. I want you to be able to make that mix of blends cohesive into its own whole. So, which is my biggest complaint about anime since computer-generated work came out, because they're absolutely cutting corners by not hand-drawing spaceships, for instance, anymore. Which was just like Robotech looked amazing because of all like Captain Harlock, even the Desico looked so good because all that mecha and ships were all hand-drawn. So it wasn't perfect. You know, mechanically, but it fit the setting, like the grittiness of Zentradi's ships in Robotech. It had this gritty, broken texture to it, like with really rough lines outlining the shape of the ships. But the lore behind Zentradi is that they don't know how to fix their fucking ships. They're warriors, they're not mechanics. None of them know how to fix stuff. So when stuff starts breaking down, it's broken. And that's reflected in the language of the vessels that they're in, because they're all just jank as fuck. So it's a really cool study in style informing narrative, that they intentionally have like this rough grittiness to the line work in their illustrations. That's just it's just gorgeous. But like the Veritex, the human fighter ships that they know how to fix, they're all pristine. So it's a really cool. It's a great example of where the style of art that you're using is complementing the narrative that you're attempting to achieve, and that gets taken away immediately when you start using computer graphics, because it's like, you know, how much grit and dirt are you going to add to your ship frame without it, you know, looking. That the scratches themselves don't look perfect, you know. It's like it's that inconsistency. It's that inconsistency that makes it look broke down and organic almost, you know. Anyway, I'm in hard ramble, so don't mind me. I know my muse is running the show in my head right now. Contrast between hard drawn and CGI does get a little jarring, kind of like watching Jurassic Park again and trying to pick out which dinosaurs are mechanical and which are CGI. Well, Jurassic Park did a really good job. I think the original Jurassic Park, I think, is a really great study in making the medium work. Like all those, like the CGI dinosaurs are really feel grounded in the larger world around them. Like, it's, for me, it's still difficult to pick out like which processes they're using for each of the dinosaurs. I think that's a fantastic case study. I also think that's what helps keep it so timeless. But even like the original Clash of the Titans with the claymation, stop motion, that also is jarring because of how unnatural the movement is. But like Nightmare Before Christmas, the entire thing being stop motion, like it's everything there. It feels natural and native. It's part of the natural language. That's a part of the production itself. You know, it's not like there's any mistakes in there. But like Zoids, it was like a Toonami anime that they created as like a Cartoon Network original anime, and it was super jarring. Like that was like one of the first computer animated animes that I recall seeing that was using cell shading over the CGI artwork, and it was the unnaturalness of the animation of the Zoid mechs that felt the most jarring to me. But beyond that, I guess if there was like fluid, real, organic movement involved with CGI work in anime, I think if it was more fluid, it wouldn't bother me as much. Like I'd be able to look past the perfection of the line work. I don't know though, because it's still janky. With giant robots, it's escapable because the robots aren't moving naturally themselves. Neon Genesis, I think, does a decent job with animation because the angels that they fight are so mathematical in nature that like them feeling unnatural is part of the narrative that is properly depicted with the use of CGI. But I don't think they use a lot though. They don't use as far as I can tell, they don't use any CGI in the actual EVA team, like the ones that the kids are piloting. But the angels, like the more unusual angels, they some of them are obviously hand drawn, but the more ephemeral, mathematically built ones, I think have animation in them. And some of the effects can look animated. I'm okay with like laser effects and explosions and stuff like that having more of a CGI origin, especially like if it's magic and stuff. It's eluding me right now, but magic effects, magic circles, like Sword Art Online, for instance, has a lot of animated magical effects, but the perfection of the math that goes along with it, I think, also is suitably. Words, God, I'm tired. It looks right. It feels right because the magic is inhuman, and having a different medium depicting the effects, like the magic sigils and stuff that are being created, that feels. It feels natural. How unnatural it feels. Like it should feel unnatural. It's magic. We're tapping into stuff. We're tapping into greater science, as it were. So that feels appropriate. God damn. Words, man. They are killing me today. Here, we're able to define the shape of this arm versus the back fin, because the back fin itself has this shadow space that's happening here, which helps define. Like, I don't need line work for this arm. I just need highlights on the arm and shadow on the fin behind it. That's an interesting aspect of illustration technique of like, when do you need to highlight versus not highlight. Like technically I don't need to highlight here at all because the color contrast against the background is sharp, but I can't guarantee where this token is going to get placed once we make the backgrounds transparent as a separate standalone illustration token document. So I need to internally, where I can control what the line art is interacting with inside of its own internal structure, I can be confident to work with that color manipulation to define the shape as highlights versus outlining it comic book style. But since I won't know where you're going to use these tokens in your own map environment, like assuming VTT, of course, then I want to maintain that border. Good. There. Nope, lost an anatomy there. I want to keep that a curve like that. There. Good. Good. There. That feels right. Whoa, that's drawing, not smearing. Demon of the Smudgery. Danku. There, good. Good. Like here, there's not a lot because of the highlights here, the way that the light is hitting on the top of the tail and the top of this this hind leg. I want to keep this. I want to keep this dark outline on the leg to help separate it from the form behind it, and use a little just like smooth it in a little bit just to make it help fit the curve of the leg overall. But I have to keep that. I want to keep that separation there, because internally, like up here, I have that separation because that happens to be that line where that fin is along that helps break across that tricep. But I don't have that same opportunity here in the anatomy down here, so I have to actively preserve that line. And it helps inform the, I don't even know what muscle group that's called. I don't know the anatomy of hind legs, like of reverse of like backward knees. I don't know what muscle groups those things are involved with. Just haven't studied that deep into anatomy to understand. There. Go. There we go. Nice. Good. There you go. I hear you, Timely Timer. You're right. It's absolutely time for me to take another sip of coffee. The first one really took their time to make sure it was good, yeah, but in some of the others, it became really obvious. Oh, in Jurassic Park? Yeah, well, I mean, they started cheapening it. Once they realized it was an IP that had legs, they like every other business, they attempted to cut corners to minimize cost and maximize gains, feeling that the IP itself was strong enough to carry to continue carrying the franchise, but they obviously cut corners with story and SF effects. So, still talking about Jurassic Park there, obviously, yes. But that's what corporations do. They find something that somebody loves and they look at a way to minimize the time and cost taken to produce more of it for you to purchase at the same or higher price. And it eventually falls apart because the corporations don't have a heart. They can't feel. That's why they're not people. But yeah, they can't feel where the love is coming from. They don't know how to duplicate it. And for you to be able to move ahead in a corporation, to even be able to make those decisions, you have to be sociopathic. So you can't have empathy. Otherwise, you wouldn't make profit-driven decisions. You'd make people-driven decisions that maybe will profit the company or not. But that's the problem with I'm no Marxist, but that's the problem with capitalism. You have to balance that stuff. You have to constantly try to push to keep your humanity. That feels pretty good. broaden the belly a little bit. There. Smudge that in. Get that curvature in there for the muscle. And get the bone to reflect and match the angle. Nice patch of black for us to drop in there. Good. Come on, baby. You can do this. The inanity flows free. Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap between now and tonight's stream. I've got some. We got some more artwork. We got some. Uh-oh. System just froze. See, it's not doing anything anymore. Oh, there it goes. Hey, neat. Found a way to pop it back into action. That's cool. little smoother in here. Like that. Good. Good. I'm almost done with this piece because there's not much more worth doing. I mean, I could add in more detail, but Saurons literally show up for like 10 minutes in this adventure. So, just like the Kreen, they're more like just like a placeholder. I think if I were to make my own role-playing game, I would have all the characters be human, just because I think it's going to make for a more realistic experience. Like I have yet to see somebody play an elf as anything other than just a finicky human, or a dwarf as a grumpy human. And shifting away from any kind of like racial features or anything like that. I think I'd go like with a mutant sort of, like mecha mutant sort of setting to justify science tech sort of stuff, but not get involved with depicting other types of sentience for players, you know, maybe like a magically oriented gamma world might kind of be the direction that I would end up going in. I am slow cooking, like the slowest cooking ever of a setting, of a campaign, of a role-playing game. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever actually execute it. But I know my best work is slowly cooked. Okay, you're looking pretty good here, buddy. Yeah, I know you got loincloths in the picture here, but I just don't see the reason. Let's grab a highlight. There we go. Now that we have the color and the outline and line art basically blended together pretty well, I can come through here with some like major highlights on a separate layer to be able to pull forward anything that I really want here. Excellent. See, maintaining that outline allows me to have this highlight like 1 pixel in from the edge and have it be able to pop without getting lost into just the generic white background. I wasn't actively thinking about that, honestly, when I made the decision to do that, but I see now why I did that. And that's just me trusting the process. Like the natural next step was these like ultra highlights. Like it's just the natural next step. So the steps I took previous to that to make sure that I have this outline well defined is only complementing this last phase of sharp highlights. So say highlights one more time, asshole. God, I love, okay, so what I love here is I have this darkening curve around the muscle mass here, but then when I drop the highlight onto it, you can still see some of that dark muscle mass, like that dark curvature underneath it. I think that really is a really great way to complement, like to give it that glossiness. By having it interact with, but not override the form shadow you get from the curvature of its structure. Love that. You also have to decide where you're going to bother putting sharp highlights in there. Like if there's only a couple of pixels like I have here, not really worth it. And leaving this dark and obscure kind of pushes it to the back, which I'm good with. Yeah, this is looking nice. Now we are just about done with where these highlights are going to get us any further. go. There. Well, I hear you, Timely Timer. And where are we at? Oh my god, it's only 7:17. Jesus. All right, well, we're making strides today, souls. Yeah, there we go. Sauron. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't see any real benefit to push this any further than I have so far. So I'm gonna let that guy. I'm just gonna hit save here and shut this one down. So next, I absolutely hate the Artok. These things are stupid as fuck. What a stupid fucking thing. I hate it. So I'm just going to do that on my own so I can just scream at it constantly from the comfort of my own solitude. You guys shouldn't have to suffer through me screaming at that thing for an hour. So I'm just going to work on this on Volcath here, the arcane merchant, who I absolutely love. I'm going to take my handy jug of water here, pour myself a glass of hydration. Look at this kick-ass onyx crow that my gal got me for my birthday. This thing is fucking amazing. What a gorgeous piece. It's pure onyx. It radiates so much power. It's so strong. It's like a talisman, man. When I pick it up, my chakras just light up. It is an amazing piece, and I love it being next to my computer. Fucking love it. Here. What a gorgeous fucking piece. Look at that. God, look how that catches light. That's so fucking great. That detail is amazing. I love this thing. Oops. There we go. Cool piece, man. I love that guy. Love it. I have it sitting next to this. I don't know what this is made out of, what material it is, but it's a little hoo owl. So not quite as well defined. It's a little chalkier substance. But I have my owl and my crow sitting next to each other, white and black. And then I have a little geode that kicks out some energy for me as well. So I've got all these little batteries, these little emotional batteries that just radiate off of my desk. It pulls me to it. So we're working on the we're working on Volcath, the arcane. Here is the reference image that we have. Get rid of that and get rid of that. Head, body, more body, more body. I'm going to take these. Trash. Like that. That's going to be BW. They're going to duplicate this layer. to merge that down. We're going to call this one color. I'm going to create a new frame. Ref. Hit save. Conceal that black-white layer. We're going to be back on tonight in approximately 12 hours to continue work on the village map for the Crystals of Mabar adventure that we've been creating. Let's conceal that reference here. Not a lot of skin showing on this dude. That's cool. We'll hem it down. Very good. Oh, good. There's a huge difference. Hold on. Locked up again, huh? All right, well, I'll have to close it down and start it up again. Shazam. Zealous, not there yet, buddy. Okay, for reference, just because we're talking about being colorblind, right? There's virtually no difference in value between, like you can see here, that's like within 5%, probably less than 5% variance in light versus dark, like in value change. Incredibly close. That is, that's tricky for someone like me. Yeah, here we go. I don't even know if this is the right placement for that. I'm gonna go like this. Let's just stick with the stick with the sleeves where I know for a fact it's the right color. And then we'll figure out the fur next. But if we keep the flesh color layer on top, oh fuck a doodle, whatever, dude. There, like that. If I keep the color layer on top, I can make sure that the skin still shows over the coat by having the coat color underneath the skin color. And that's just hierarchy over here on my layers: line art, skin tone, coat, robe, whatever it is. And I'm just going to drop that down all throughout here. And then I can separate the color of the girdle. think it's the same color throughout. Yeah, same color throughout. Ah, except for these sleeves are different. So we'll go here, here. We'll build these out like that. So I'm not illustrating all of these on stream. Some of them I'm doing off stream, like like at night, like while I'm so tired. So, but this is the same blocking process that I do. So some of these things I block off, and like I block off the flats. These are called flats, where it's just a flat color that's filling space. Here, I gotta adjust my seat. Oh. So I can go throughout, clean up the art, clean up the line art to where I like it for all the pieces, and then drop in flats for all the pieces, and then decide which of the pieces that I've finished that look cool that I want to bother being here on stream with you tonight. So like the Artuk, for example, I'll drop in the flats on that, but then I'll also finish rendering it because I think it's a stupid creature. So I don't want to waste time on camera cussing at it when I could be focusing on something like this that I think is cooler. Let's go into here and grab that. So in addition to me wrestling with the adventure layout format, I'm also dropping, I'm also working on finishing out all of these things. Because again, these illustrations are going to sit inside of the actual pages of the adventure. So this is the interior artwork. This is part of the interior artwork production. So it's time well spent. Very, very well spent. But it is a huge endeavor. By far the biggest project I've ever worked on. Like after I finish this, the next step up in complexity is going to be writing an entire role-playing game. Because other than character creation, this Spelljammer supplement we're creating is essentially a self-contained game unto itself, which is super news because when the time comes for me to build my own, it's just I'll have this as a personal reference to how much discipline will I need to be able to produce that game. So right now I don't see any value in creating my own game. I don't have enough of a personal following. But once I get to that state in the God knows how distant future, it'll be really easy for me to be able to go through these steps again to be able to produce that new thing. God, I'm really just feeling Mecha Gamma World right now. Like a more beat up Lancer. I don't know if Lancer is OGL or not, or like has a gaming license, but I might end up spilling into that space at some point. Starting to realize why scenery shots are so hard. I have no idea how to color and light large areas. That's where texture comes in. Being able to fill a space like a blank field of color. Being able to break up the visual language of what you're looking at. Here, I'll build something real quick with you. Let's just conceal this guy real quick, and we'll just take a quick tangent here. So let's go with like let's just go like with an off green, right? This probably isn't a good green, but here we have a swath of what's probably unnatural green, right? So, and then Now we have this, which is a brush I like to use. I'm going to thin it up a little bit so it has less of a curve, right? The hardest part about Photoshop is grabbing those little handlebars. But okay, great. So now we have this. Let's build out something like that. So this is where texturing comes in, right? You have the visual language here. And now I come back through with an eraser using the same type of brush. Lower opacity. I can erase out some of these edges a little bit. There, see? Now you've got like this this grittiness, right? That doesn't require a lot. It's just well, the brush that I'm using creates its own grit, and then I'm using an eraser to fade out that grit, to fade in, to kind of fuse into the overall background color that we used. Yeah, but it's just, you're just creating a little bit of text. You have to know what texture you want to use. So if you're doing like a landscape environment that has, well, organics help a lot. It's really difficult if you're just doing like a concrete, like if you're just doing like a concrete, like I don't know, it's like fucking concrete. Concrete is mostly gray with like a little bit of a red angle to it, I believe. Like we could take concrete up like nearly gray, but like with a little bit of a red twinge to it. I don't know if this is the right thing to do for concrete, but if we were to have an effect here, and then like we wanted to, I honestly don't know if concrete has a reddish twinge or a bluish, but right now I'm just going to go with a bluey thing here. Then let's grab, I don't know, let's just grab something rough. Looking, you know what? I'm just going to go like super generic and just go with a round brush. I'm going to drop it down to a really low, to a really small point. I'm just going to stipple a little bit here, but I'm keeping it in like this vertical or this horizontal orientation here. But I'm just doing like little stipples. And then if I'm sticking with this just generic round brush here, and then dropping, whoa, what did I do there? There we go. I drop this down smaller, and I drop it down to like a really low eraser. And then I can, again, tap at this as well. Up front here, I've got some grit. I'm gonna get rid of that overly large rectangular effect I got going there, but I'm gritting this out, and then I can erase back, just tapping. I'm tapping here with a very low power eraser to kind of work this stipple language into the background color so it fades through. But the further back, like the further up on the page I'm going, the more I'm erasing, so that it just, the atmospheric perspective, the amount of air between the camera and here versus air in camera here is different. So this is more pronounced, has more contrast up front than it does in the back here, because back is further away from the camera. So it has less presence, it's more obscure. And then I can take this effect here and just drop the opacity overall. So I have here, a field of relatively uniform color which is here, but just adding a little bit of gravelly grit to it helps break up the texture a little bit. So it has like when I zoom out here, this stippling effect has a discoloration that your eye is starting to bleed together, because at this distance the pixels aren't, like the pixels up front here are a little bit more defined than they are back there, but the overall effect is that it's affecting the actual color that your eye is absorbing, because your eye is attempting to rectify this base color versus the stippling color, which is different. So your eye will attempt to rectify that and resolve what colors it are looking at, but it blends. It just, there's so much color, like small color information back here that starts to blend together. Even though these are separate colors that are stippled over each other, the fading in effect of the eraser makes your eye blend it together, as opposed to being more contrast up front here. So you can fake a texture really easily by adopting a uniform language. Like if I were to continue doing concrete as part of an illustration here, I would keep that same round brush and that same dabbing horizontal effect throughout the entire piece, as opposed to if I were to do more like forest floor, I would keep this same curved brush language throughout as well, because I want to make sure that there's uniformity in the language. Like if I consistently have AstroTurf with this, and then I consistently have concrete with this, the eye is going to pick up from different pieces across the composition, where this concrete effect is recurring over and over again. It's going to recognize those things as same. So it'll start just automatically categorizing them. And if I see this same choppy tarn throughout the document, then it's going to adopt that all those terrains are the same. So then you, as the illustrator, are just adopting what visual language am I going to use to represent different types of terrain, and then you just stick with it. And as you continue to evolve and get further into that process, you're going to adopt a certain look. Like all my forests have this sort of sharp language to the tree lines, or like they all have the same like fade effect into the brushwork. All my trees tend to have the same look because I use the same brushes over and over again, because it helps reinforce an aesthetic that I like. You are in the process of establishing what line and color language do you want to use to depict different types of terrain, and you're just now at the beginning of that process. So, which is why it feels difficult, because you're trying to figure out how am I going to break up these fields of color with texture and patterning to be able to depict the different terrain. So anyway, Bob's your uncle. Let's do that, and we'll go back to this, and we'll go there. But yeah, it's a huge challenge. It's a huge fucking challenge. But once you get, it's just a matter of you tinkering with it and just being content with where you're at now, and using whatever it is that you settle on as your base to move forward. Like, is this properly depicting what I want, and what do I need to change about the brushes that I'm using, either the brush strokes or the brush shape that I'm using, or the fade, or the color contrast. Those are like your four levers that you're pulling. But I could go on about landscape for fucking ever. But yeah, embrace the challenge, man. It is worth your time figuring out. Environments and landscapes is just, it sells so much. What I mean is it's convincing. It helps convince the viewer of what it is that they're looking at. You know, I don't know if I'm expressing that well. There, do that. Come like this. like in the reference picture here, right? This is like this fur mantle on his shoulders. It has this consistent radial effect. Like you can see it real obvious here. This radial, like a circle, right? So when I am doing smudge, I'm going along that same line. Eraser, please. Thank you. Ugh, I should not have fused those into the same layer. That was a mistake, but oh well, we can live with it. And then when we come back through and start messing with the, like, fuse the line art to the color, I'll be able to mess with this a lot more. But I'm just trying to set up here that my line work is complementing the perspective and the curvature of this mantle. And then I can come through with the highlight and see I can use the highlight here. I can stipple in these little lines, the same as we see in the illustration here and here. So I'm duplicating that effect by using the shape. And this is just perspective. This is just line art perspective contouring that we're doing. But it also helps shape the materials that we're using. And all the way back here, it's just dots. You know, it's not even lines anymore because the perspective is warping it. And then when we fuse this together, we'll be able to work the line art into the color and make it look more furry, have it pop out more. Yabba yabba do. There we go. Over that. There. 45. We won't finish this today, but we're making progress with it. There, we'll fuse that down. No, didn't realize the hat was in the same layer. There. Hat. There. And merge that down like that. And then go back to here. Here and here. Nurr. Like that. Yes. There we go. 1, 2, 3 tones. Not very. It's almost like cell shading. Bip 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 bip. Nope, 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 nope. Nope. Should be able to find a sharper. There. There we go. There we go, like that. There. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Like I have these lines here, this grid pattern, this quilting, and it's going to be difficult for me to be able to, like, if I fuse all of the color together right now, it's going to be difficult for me to preserve this lighting effect that I have with the line art underneath it. So when I do fuse them all, I'm actually going to leave this layer separate for the time being so that I can work the rest of the line art into the color, and then I'll drop this. Then I'll drop this back into frame again, and then use this to color out and contour stuff. If that's making any sense at all, you'll see it. You'll see it. But I don't think I'm explaining myself right now. I'm going to blame the exhaustion on that one. I mean, Muse can only do so much for me. God bless her. Oh, God, I am feeling the fatigue, yo. Let's blend that in. And then, do we actually... Am I just making up that... Yeah, I'm just making that belt up. Okay, well, let's work on the helmet up here, and that will provide us the language that we want for the girdle. There. Good. Nope, bad. Let's find something darker. There we go. That's what I wanted. There. Yeah, we can keep that. Good. You know what? Turns out... Turns out that is the proper way. There. Grab that. Just gonna dark drop that whole thing. Just like that. Get rid of that. Good. And then here. Good. We're at 7:54, so I only have a few minutes left. So I'm just gonna grab some face highlights here real quick. Face dark. And then there. Shadow. Rim shadow there. Highlight, shadow, highlight. All right, so this is where we're going to leave the piece for today. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to finish this and maybe work on Prince Zelith. But we'll fuse all this color together, and then we'll blend in the line art into it to make it just feel a little bit more cohesive. Then we'll work on that monocle and doing some ornament, some of the ornaments here. We'll clean those up. But that's where we're at for today, guys. So. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Hornetico. It's good to have time with you, man. And anyone else that's lurking, drop a comment, say hi, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter to get notifications when we live again. Next time we're going to be live is in about 11 hours ish. Yeah, probably 11. And we'll continue with the village cartography color for the refugee village in the Eberron adventure. And then we'll be back here tomorrow morning. And then on Saturday, I honestly don't know what we're doing on Saturday at this point. I think we might be working on page background, like we might be working on page color and like texture, like background page color grit for the Spelljammer Combat Exploration. Like instead of like we don't want to leave this like this white background. We have to have some sort of coloration that makes sense for it. So I think we'll be working on that. I'm not sure what else we'll be working on though. So we'll figure out what Saturday. Well, chances are Saturday is just going to end up being me ranting about how cool the mechanics are. Let's be honest. I'll probably spend half the time just talking about the document. Whether I get anything done or not is debatable. But that's just kind of how Saturday is right now. So anyway, I'll be back in 11 hours, guys. Thanks a lot for spending time with me, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks a lot.